In this video, I'm going to give you a full tutorial of how to get the most out of interactive brokers and actually go to buy your first ETF in case you plan to add any. I'm buying most of my stocks and ETFs through interactive brokers. I do use other brokers as well, but my biggest holding position is actually kept with interactive brokers. And that's for a number of reasons. The first one being that they're available in literally so many countries. I mean, look at this list. So most likely wherever you are, you're going to have access to interactive brokers, which is just amazing. Imagine you're going to move countries one day. You want to be in a country where you can continue using a broker, because I had a lot of experiences in the past where I moved to other countries and then the broker of my choice wasn't available in that country. And then you have to sell all your portfolio, or if the broker allows, send it somewhere else. And really, it's a pain to do that. And that brings me to another great point. What I love about the interactive brokers platform is the ability to transfer your portfolio into interactive brokers, but also out, because that's really the red flag if your broker does not support it. It's very important that you have the ability to stay flexible, to send your money in and out. I think it's very important. So make sure your broker allows that. And of course, the fact that they are a stock listed company themselves. As you can see, that's the stock chart over there of interactive brokers. They're US listed. Their performance has been really stellar. And you want to see that, right? You want to have a broker that's profitable, is doing well over time, not that just comes out with some crazy offers, offers you some bonuses, incentives, and doesn't charge any fees. And after 2, 3, 5 years, they run out of money and have to close shop. So you want to have really a broker that's been trusted and validated. And interactive brokers, by being stock listed, certainly more credible. And they are, one of the biggest players in terms of total portfolio invested with them in the world. The cool thing is they have so many different trading platforms, which can also be overwhelming, but it's certainly going to tick all the boxes for you. If you're a day trader, they have the trader platform, they have the desktop website, which we're going to check in a moment, but they also have a lot of different mobile platforms, which I made a separate video. I'll link to this at the end of this video, so you can really choose what works best for you. But in this video, I want to focus on the client portal, which is the one that most people are going to be using online on their computers to buy and sell their stocks and ETFs. All right, so let's get started. Here we are inside my portfolio, and you can see everything at one glance, basically what's going on, what's happening. You obviously see over here my overall portfolio, how it developed very nicely since 1 year. I'm quite happy with the development. Last year, same time, it was only 20,000. Now we're at 54. So positive development. Of course, I'm also contributing and sending money into the account, buying more of it. But you can see the overall performance, rate of return has been really stellar, which I'm really quite happy with, definitely. And yes, of course, first of all, sometimes when you log in for the first time, it might be a little bit overwhelming. I heard people say that, and that's true. There are other brokers out there that make it much more seamless and easier, I would say. But honestly, it's not that difficult. Once you get a hang of it, you will get and feel much more comfortable. So obviously over here, you have your portfolio. Here you see all the settled cash. When you make a transfer deposit into your bank account, you will see the money over here. Sometimes it's in unsettled. There will be a separate column down here when it says unsettled. So that just means, they need another 2-3 days to process the money, especially if you send in a different currency to your base currency. We'll come to this a little bit later. It might be locked up for 2-3 days, but don't worry. Eventually it will come into your settled cash. And that means that's the money you can actually use to buy your stocks or ETFs. And of course, from here, if you wanted to, you could deposit more or withdraw. And when you deposit, it's actually quite important to go through the motion. So when you click on deposit, you can see I have here a number of deposit methods that I tried in the past, and you have to find whatever works for you. Obviously, you can just choose from a new deposit method over here and choose again what works for you. Different people like different things. For example, if you're using Wise, it might actually make sense to use Wise because it can be really fast to use it, and in many ways save you some fees, but it depends on which area you're living in and so forth. You can choose over here the currency that you're selecting. For example, euro. In this case, you might have different, obviously, options available, SEPA transfer, Wise transfer also. So yeah, it really depends on where you live. It's hard to generalize it, but in my case, usually I do either SEPA transfer or sometimes in the past I also used Wise. But one thing I would mention, if you do a transfer, definitely tell interactive brokers before. So make sure you go into whatever account you set up or a new one, and then just say how much you're planning to send. You can see over here, I'll be sending the following amount. Just put it over there, and that way they will be expecting that money. It makes the settlement period a bit faster, rather than if you don't tell it, it will still be settled and credited to your account if you put the right reference number with your transfer. But otherwise, it should still get through. It just takes a little bit longer in my experience. And yeah, other than that, obviously, you have your dashboard, which you can customize, which is really quite cool. From here, you can add and remove widgets, so you can see all the various things. I kind of keep it simple. I don't look too much at that, but again, you can really customize how you want it to. Here you see all the various transactions going on. I still have an inbound transfer from my Trading 212 account, which I requested to send some of my stocks into interactive broker. So hopefully that will go through soon. So that's really good at a glance to see what's going on. And again, most of it you can also do, of course, from your phone. But I usually like using it on the interactive website online. So here also activity statements. I get a monthly activity report also sent to me. I'll show you where you can set this up. But yeah, once you get a hang of it, honestly, quite straightforward. Of course, most people will spend time in their portfolio. So let's click into this over here, and here see your overall performance, all your various holdings that you have, of course, listed by instrument. You can list it alphabetically by position, and it will obviously filter depending what it is. I usually sort it by market value. So I see my biggest position at the top, because obviously that's for me the most important one. You can see I cleaned it up quite a bit. I used to have way more holdings in the past, but I removed a lot of my individual holdings, and now I'm mostly focusing on my ETF holdings. And you see also, again, you can customize your views and dashboards, which I really like. For you, it might be looking different. You can even change here some little settings. You can click on the 3 dots over here and then edit columns. And here you can really customize how you like it, right? You can add certain things, remove certain things, ETFs, you want to see certain things versus the S&P 500. So you have a lot of data and comparisons that you can include and look at. For me personally, I notice less is more. Sometimes it can be too overwhelming. And if you have too much, you won't even look at it. So for me, I look at the position that I have, last prices, my cost basis, the market value. So that's basic cost basis, how much I bought it for. Market value is how much the value of the market is right now. My average price of the particular security, and of course my daily P&L, and unrealized P&L is the overall gain that I made from that. You can see, very nice gain from my S&P 500. I always say you can't go wrong investing in the S&P 500. But yeah, that's basically overall my portfolio. If I go down over here, I still have my cash holdings. You see, it's mostly US dollars, and my base currency is also US dollars. I'll show you once again in a second where you can change that. But from here, I could also convert it into other currencies in case I wanted to. So very straightforward. So if I click into performance over here, I also get some more deep dive analysis about certain things, how things are going, the time period I can change, the asset allocation. That's always good to know. What are you invested in, and get a top level overview. There are more reports, more detailed reports. I'll show you this in a second, but definitely not too bad to get you an overall idea of how your portfolio is doing. And then balances over here as well. You can see overall balances, but unless you're doing margin trading, that really shouldn't be too relevant for you. I don't really ever look at that, because I only buy with money that I have. I'm not using leverage, what have you. In this case, it might be more relevant for you. From here, it's very straightforward. If you wanted to buy anything, obviously you could just go into your position in case you want to buy more of that, or if you want to buy a new instrument. Once you identified what you want to be buying, so all you have to do is head to the search site and then look for it over here. I want to buy some more S&P 500 ETF, and it's called SPY5. So I found it on justetf.com, great website for all ETF purchases. But again, the problem is a lot of people get overwhelmed over here. You can see there are 3 different options for the same ETF, right? That particular ETF has 3 different listings. And the listings you can see over here, SPDR from State Street Capital, S&P 500, UCITS. I want the UCITS version, not the US version. For non-Americans, it's always better to go with the UCITS version. ETF distributing, so they're all the same. But you see the ending is different, right? This one basically says that it's listed at the London Stock Exchange. IBIS2 is basically listed in Germany, and EBS is actually listed in Switzerland. So that also means it's different currencies, right? If I bought it in Switzerland, it would show me in dollars or francs, most likely. But I don't want to buy it in Switzerland. I don't want to buy it in euros, most likely in Germany listed always in euros. I want to buy it in dollars, so most likely it's going to be London. So we can just pull it up over here, and I'll be able to see right away. Click on stock. You have to select that as well. So again, it's not as straightforward because you don't see the logos. It could be a little bit easier than with some other brokers. But again, once you get a hang of it, and once you bought, in the future, you just click into it and buy more. It makes it much easier. But again, let's take that for now. And you can see here what I can buy. It's basically the SPY 500 listed in London. And yeah, I can see also it's listed in USD. So that's the one I want to be buying, right? Not the one in euro. So it depends on your situation. If you want to buy in euro, then obviously you want to be buying it in Germany, for example. But yeah, use justetf.com to really find what you want to be buying. They listed by currency, by stock marketplace. So it really helps to find the right stock for you to buy. And here, obviously, you have all the various insights that you need in order to make an informed decision. You can even change all the charting over here, however you want to. So it's quite complex if you wanted to make it complex, but it can also be straightforward if you wanted to. Whatever needs you have, most likely you'll find it. You have my transaction history over here, what I bought, what I sold, any future dividends coming up over here. You can see, of course, dividend is not the highest with that ETF, but overall long-term returns, are pretty promising in my opinion. And from here, you can go into research also. That's a little bit hidden. At first, I couldn't find it, but here you'll find even more details, and really quite actually a lot of details to really understand better what that fund does or a particular stock if you look for a stock, to really get deeper insights. And honestly, a lot of the information that you see here on other websites you have to pay for. So that's really cool that it's part of Interactive Brokers, where once again, you don't have any minimum fee or any inactivity fee, very low commissions. These are all reasons why I love Interactive Brokers for sure. And from here, you can click around and see all the different details you want, the profile and fees, even though somehow the fees are not really shown that easily, which is a little bit annoying. But of course, you can once again look that up on just ETF. But most other information you will find here, performance, the various holdings that they're having, which is obviously very interesting to see, what's actually included into the particular ETF. You see what you're buying over here. So really some quite detailed information, which I really recommend you if you're buying the first time, definitely use that research. Once you're happy with it and you want to go ahead and buy it or sell it, of course, you could do both of it from here. But in my case, I want to buy more of it. Click on buy over here. And from here, it's very straightforward what you want to be doing. Once again, you can select buy or sell order. From here, you could either select the dollar amount. So you can see now in dollars, I'll be buying $250 worth of the particular ETF, or I can say exact shares. If I wanted to buy one share, and you can see also right away, the estimated amount would be 529. But let's say I don't have so much money or I don't want to spend so much. I can also just buy for $250, right? Which would be equating to around less than half a share of that ETF. And from here, of course, you can also do the most typical order type. If you want to do a market order, limit order, stop order, you have all these different options over here. But in my case, honestly, I mostly just go for a market order. Yes, it might not be the best option. Some people prefer a limit order until it hits a specific price that you had in mind. But in my case, honestly, I just want to execute the order. I mean, I'm really investing for the long term. So if it's a cent up or down, I don't really mind, to be honest. I'm dollar cost averaging, buying it every single week. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. But if you're particular about it, you could set up a couple of orders that hit once the price, drops to a certain point and that you're comfortable with, and it will trigger that order. So it's up to you. And of course, then time and force, good till cancel. Basically, if you have a limit order, it will basically stay in place until you cancel it, or it will get triggered. But again, it's up to you. Since I have a market order, it will be executed right away. And then from here, you could right away submit the order or click on preview to see everything is okay, how much I'll be paying. Once again, you get a quick summary of what it is. And of course, you see also transaction fee. It's estimated, but it will be around either $1.70 or $2.50. And yeah, honestly, as I said, it's not completely free, right? With trading 212, for example, I wouldn't be paying any commission. So that's something to keep in mind. On smaller amounts, if I would buy $100 worth of that ETF, $2.50 would be 2.5%. So that's quite expensive, right? But if I would buy 1,000 worth of it, then it would be a fraction, right? And honestly, quite meaningless in that way. So the bigger the amounts, the more sense it makes. If it's smaller amount, again, on, for example, stocks that are bought in the US previously, I would pay 35 cents, I believe, even up to $1,000. So in that way, it's really not too bad. But if you buy smaller amounts, you might consider also other options. But again, for most people, these amounts, investing into solid broker, for me, is worthwhile paying because I know my money and my investments are safe with them. But it's just something to keep in mind, of course. One thing I would recommend you in the settings, I'll show you in a second there as well, is to change it from a fixed pricing, which most people are on, to a tiered pricing, which will make things a little bit easier. So definitely, I would recommend you that. Once I changed it, it got cheaper. But yeah, these things also depend on the exchange where you buy it. I noticed when I previously bought in Amsterdam in euros, it was less. I believe it was like €1, and now it's almost $2 because I buy in dollars and in London Stock Exchange. So have a look around, and in some cases it might be better for you not to buy weekly like I do, but buy monthly, right? And that way you reduce your transaction fee. So it's better to have one bigger purchase and pay the commission rather than a lot of smaller purchases, but still pay the similar amount of commission over there. And if I'm happy with this, I can go ahead and click on override and transmit over here, and boom, the order has been submitted. But as you can see, it will only be placed once the stock market's open, because at the moment of recording this video, it's actually on the weekend, so stock markets are closed, so obviously it can't be filled. So in this case, it just reminds me that as soon as the stock markets open in London, obviously, it will be triggered, right? So it's just gonna be, if I show you in a second, if I exit out of this, go to trade, you see already the red dot over here. So it means there's a new trade. I can see the one next to it, orders and trades. I can click into this, and from here I can see, an order pending has been pre-submitted, as you can see, a buy order, and has not been filled because it's closed on this weekend. So I could just keep it there and it will trigger automatically. Or in my case, I actually want to buy it right then in the moment. So I'll be canceling it for now. I could also modify it, but I'm just going to cancel out of it. And yeah, it will be canceled. and that's it. So basically next week I can do it myself manually. I like to do that. I always check around, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, see how the stock prices are going. If it's particularly high in one particular day, I will not buy. If I see a little bit of a dip, a little bit retraction, I will then buy it in that moment. But again, that's probably for another video. Right, next up, you also have a research tab over here where you can really, use a market scanner and so on to find whatever you're looking for. But once again, I find this a little bit overwhelming. I think there are better websites out there. If using ETFs, then definitely just ETF is great. I personally love using Seeking Alpha, which I use to do all my stock research. And the cool thing is it also automatically links with my Interactive Brokers account. So I can see right here the research within my portfolio listed in Seeking Alpha. So it's really, really cool. That's a premium feature. I pay for it, but in my eyes, it's really worth it. And then from here, I can really dive into all the various stocks that I have, get some great analysis, insights. And honestly, for that, I love the website much more than Interactive Brokers. But overall for research, I think it's still a good option if you wanted to. Transfer and pay, of course, from here. One very important thing is that you can really transfer positions in and out of it. I recently made a video about it where I showed you how I transfer my position from Trading 212 into Interactive Brokers. But from here, you can really go through the motion, either incoming, receiving, or outgoing to transfer your shares somewhere else. I think that's super, super powerful. And a lot of brokers are not really emphasizing that because often they don't actually offer it. For example, Revolut, sadly, they used to offer it, but then stopped it. And that's a big red flag. Because if one day you want to move your broker, you want to have a broker that allows you to move your funds, right? Not to have to sell it, because that's not really good for tax reasons. All your cost bases and historic returns will be messed up. So it's much better to transfer it, with all the history attached to it. Performance reports, also very good. You can get even more insights into your portfolio, how things are going, and really can customize your own reports, which is really powerful. Have it automated. So now I'm getting every month a report sent to me. You can see a projected income, which is really nice. How much money I'll be getting approximately from my dividends, which is nice to see. Once again, the holdings, key statistics. So even more powerful insights into your own specific portfolio. So quite attractive. I don't look at it all the time, but once in a while I go through here and see how things are going. Have my holdings set up over there. So really quite nicely presented, I must say. It's getting better and better. As I said, it used to be much worse, but they've been working on it a lot to clean it up and simplify it to a certain extent. Here you can set up your default reports. You can see reports delivery. Previous month's detailed PDF is sent to me every single month. So really a lot of details and insights in there. I just look at the report once a month when it's emailed to me, and that really does the job. Education also, you can get a bit more insights. And that's really all there's to it. Over here, of course, you have your notifications. So every time you have any notification, you will see that over here. And of course, I should have mentioned that before, you can change to light mode in case you prefer seeing it in the light theme. That's totally fine. I don't like it personally. I prefer dark. If you prefer it, it's very easy to change that. And of course, you can go into your settings over here. So in your settings, you can go, as I said, and change the pricing plan. So that's something I would definitely recommend you if you're serious about using Interactive Brokers. Most of the people when you start, have a look for yourself, but you're most likely going to be on the fixed rate pricing. But in many cases, the tiered one, unless you're trading crazy volumes, is probably going to be cheaper for you. You can try it out and then try to buy a certain stock or ETF and you'll see different pricing. But in most cases, I think you're going to be better off with tiered, so you can easily switch that. And another important point for you to check are the trading permissions, because sometimes people write me, I cannot buy a certain product or stock or what have you. That's probably due to the fact that some of your trading permissions are not enabled. So whatever you want to buy, just go in here. You can see I've selected 3 stocks, warrants, and currency. I don't even know why I have warrants, but mostly I'm buying stocks. That also includes ETFs. So you can just go in here, add or edit. And from here, you select all the various regions. For example, if you want to buy, a stock or ETF in Australia, you better make sure that it's ticked over here, right? I'm not planning to buy anything in Hong Kong. I could tick all of them, but I just want to reduce it. Also, one thing to keep in mind, the more you've selected, sometimes when you look for a stock, it might be also overwhelmed because they might be listed in many different countries. So really choose the one that you're more likely not to invest and go through. And obviously also you want to have over here all global trade in fractions. Make sure that's enabled. That basically allows you to buy fractional shares, because otherwise you may not be able to. And some stocks or ETFs can be, thousands of dollars. And if you want to buy only $100 worth of that, then you wouldn't be able if you don't take it over here. And one more thing I said before is your base currency. So right now you can see for me it's US dollars, but here you should really choose what you're going to be transacting most in and what currency you want to buy most in, right? In my case, I move around the world right now living in Dubai, so I'm being paid in US dollars, so it makes sense to buy US dollars. And I want to mostly invest in US dollars because even though I'm from Europe originally, if I had to choose any fiat currency, probably I would see the dollar being the strongest in the future. So I want to invest into US dollars. But if you're earning in euro and invest in euro, then definitely make sure your base currency is euro as well, right? Go through and select what works best for you. That way you're also avoiding a lot of the currency exchange fees that potentially might be there. And there you go. Really straightforward. Honestly, I love interactive brokers. Is it the prettiest interface of all? No. But is it the most solid and trustworthy broker that I've been using and is available out there? In my humble opinion, absolutely it is. I mean, personally, I continue holding my biggest part of my portfolio with interactive brokers. However, I still use some other brokers such as Lighty and Trading 212, especially Trading 2 I really like because I can buy the same ETF that I just shown you without any commission on there and then basically add it to my portfolio. Much easier, much simpler without paying any commission for it. And right now I'm actually in the process of moving some of my stocks into interactive brokers from Trading 212. So if that's successful, I will definitely be buying more and more on Trading 212 and later on every once in a while send it into interactive brokers. I just feel, really, really safe with them. I still feel safe with all my other brokers. But once again, interactive brokers just has such a long track record, proven strong player out there that I really believe in. It's like a bang for me, right? It's really a solid, trusted player. And if you're planning to open an interactive brokers account, then please use my link down in the description below. It will really help out the channel a lot. And you're going to be in good hands with them. And obviously, I'll get back to any questions that you have about anything interactive brokers related. Just pop them down in the comments below and I'll get back to every single one of you. Next up, check out this video over here where I'm going to run you through the various apps that they have because they have 3 different apps. So it might be a little bit overwhelming, but it might be really amazing to do your stock buys on the go. So definitely check it out. I hope it will be useful for you. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.